Thank you for joining us on WFAA Plus. I'm Jonah Javad, joined by the other members of our WFAA sports team, Joe Trahan and Michelle Montaigne. Joe is out in Cleveland right now because the Dallas Mavericks have a game coming up in just about 50 minutes, and Michelle is in our WFAA studios. We are still reacting and getting more information of the trade that sent shockwaves throughout the entire sports world globally late last night. Luka Donicic traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. Anthony Davis, part of the return that is coming to Dallas. Just about 40 minutes ago, we heard from Mavericks GM Nico Harrison and head coach Jason Kidd. They spoke before the game in Cleveland, addressing some of the questions about this trade. Why was certainly the chief question among them. Why this deal and why now? And we'll just lead it off. Joe, you were there for Nico's press conference not too long ago. What was the mood or vibe from the front office? This is a huge move, but it seemed like from our press conference and seeing from the video that he was a little nonchalant and relaxed about it. Was that surprising to you at all?
It was. I just think that is his demeanor. I'm not gonna, dock the merits because the guy was just being who he is.
Mhm.
I mean, there's been plenty of other things to knock about this move. I won't knock the way that the guy is. That's not fair. But I will say this: I was struck, perhaps, at how matter of fact it was, because that certainly stood out. They believe that this is the right move for the long-term success of this organization, and they made it crystal clear. They brought up defense as one thing. Nico said it 3 or 4 different times. He thinks defense wins championships, and this move will serve to make them better defensively. And there was one other thing that really jumped out at me in terms of listening to what they had to say, and it was when someone asked, because they talked about the culture addition that Anthony Davis would bring, and how he'd be great for the culture, and he would work great in the team environment. And one of the reporters there said, "Well, listen, I hear you, touting that, but is that in any way a knock on Luka Doncic?" And that's what Nico Harrison said. Listen, you're never going to catch me talking bad about players. But then he made this very pointed statement. He said there are two different types of players. You have some players who add to the culture and other players who fit in. And those are distinct things. And he believes that the players that they're getting, Anthony Davis, as well as Max Christie, will add to the culture. His demarcation of that distinction just spoke volumes to me. And I'll take you guys back to last year during the playoff run. We all remember during the Oklahoma City series when Luka Doncic was just incessantly going at the refs. We know that's part of his game. It's part of what he does. But it was becoming just all the time. And he wasn't getting back on defense. And I know for a fact during that playoff series that there was someone in the organization who essentially got in Luka's face and said, all right, enough of that BS. We can't win that way. We can't win that way. And that's immediately what I thought about when he said, and listen, I'm not saying that Nico Harrison made that direct line. I'm not. But that's absolutely what jumped out to me. And Maverick fans know that Luka Doncic has warts. But listen, he's only 25 years old. I thought you were supposed to work at those warts, figure it out, and go win championships. When you have an all-NBA player, guy's been all-NBA for the last 5 years, a guy's been a force in this league, he's going to be an MVP candidate for the foreseeable future. I thought that was part of the deal. But listen, the Mavs have made it crystal clear that they do not believe in the long-term future of Luka Doncic. Conditioning has come up and other things, and his lack of playing great defense. So that stuck out to me. And I do have to share one other thing about getting here to Cleveland today, you guys. So I landed in Cleveland. I literally got here to the arena about 10 minutes before the press conference started. But as I was getting out of the airport, I look outside and it's snowing. And you guys know me, I check the weather before I go anywhere, right? If I'm going to Little Elm, which is right next to Frisco, I'm going to check the weather, right? It's just what I do. Check the weather here in Cleveland. There was no mention of snow, nothing. And all I could think of was this snow out of the blue was so perfectly metaphorical and emblematic of that cold, icy feeling that Mavericks fans have coursing through their veins because their hero is gone and they don't know why it happened.